Hello and welcome back to Film Exaggeration.
You know, I never really got the hate for Ben Affleck. Granted, I was pretty young when it was at its peak, but I've never seen one of his movies where I thought he was the one who ruined it. At worst, he usually just got lost in the shuffle. And I also say the same for Jennifer Lopez. She gets a lot of hate as an actress, but I don't think she's that bad. Granted, The Boy Next Door is one of my least favorite movies of the year, but that certainly isn't her fault. In 2003, these two were America's power couple, and their relationship was more important to the people than their movies. So that gave Hollywood a brilliant idea.
Hey, why don't we just put these two together in a movie where they're a couple? That'll make money, right? This is one of the most infamous movies ever made and one of the biggest bombs of the last 15 years. Not only did the movie flop at the box office, but both critic and audience reception has been extremely negative. It won 6 Razzies in the year it was released, and 1 more a year later for Worst Comedy for their first 25 years. The film apparently was heavily edited against the wishes of writer-director Martin Brest, and after the abysmal returns and reception, he hasn't done a single movie since. But does it deserve the hate? Because despite the reception, this movie does seem to have quite the quote following, although that might just be because of J-Lo. And also, I don't see that many reviews for this movie on the internet. Todd, YNC, Smeghead, none of them have tackled it, which is weird for a movie so infamously bad. But if no one else is gonna do it, I guess it's up to me. This is Gigli. So the movie starts with Larry Gigli, played by Ben Affleck, interrogating a guy in a dryer.
Well, a human body is like 80% moisture, right? How much do you weigh?
I'm not an expert, but I don't think a dryer will kill him. It might burn him a little bit, but more likely he'll just break the damn thing with his weight. Also, am I the only one who thinks this guy doesn't look that scared? So it turns out the man has some of the money for Gigli's boss Lewis, played by the mechanic from War of the Worlds. Lewis is angry that Gigli didn't get all the money, and we learn that Affleck isn't really as tough as he lets on. Oh, you mean the guy who threatens people with a dryer? Now if it were a washer, sure, but a dryer? No. Through a confusing bit of dialogue, Lewis wants Gigli to kidnap the younger brother of a federal prosecutor so that his friend won't go to prison. I can think of a few other ways you can save him, but if that's the way you want to do it, Gigli goes to the mental hospital where the brother is, and of course they just let this tall man in a leather jacket who has no relation to any of the people in the hospital into the hospital. There he meets the brother, Brian, played by Justin Bartha.
I have to go with the Baywatch.
I'm sorry, what?
I have to go with the Baywatch. I was gonna go.
You want to watch Baywatch?
Baywatch? How long was this movie in development? Because this came out in 2003. Baywatch ended in 2001, unless there was some reboot I never heard of, but I don't think they really want to try that again. Gigli convinces him to go, saying he will take him to Baywatch, and of course, since this mental hospital apparently has no security or really anyone who works there, Gigli is easily able to take him. Man, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was extremely unrealistic. He uses a flashlight to fool Brian that he is talking on a walkie-talkie in a bit that is actually pretty funny, and uses it to tell him Baywatch is closed. Also, have I mentioned how over the top these guys play their gangster accents?
Hello. Hello there. P.O.B. What does that mean? P.O.B. Limo driver said that. That's good. What does it mean? Just P.O.B. passenger on board.
After a couple minutes of watching these two argue, Jennifer Lopez's character, named Ricki, knocks on his front door.
May I be of some assistance?
Well, that remains to be seen. Look, I'm sorry to bother you. It's just, I was wondering if it wouldn't be too much trouble if I could use your phone for a second. You know.
Yes, this is kind of a bad,
It'll only take a second, I promise. You know, it's probably a local call.
Well, that was just one of the worst meet cutes I've ever seen. So it turns out Ricki is actually another one of Lewis's henchmen sent there because Gigli apparently fucks up a lot.
You know, I heard you were a bit of a fuck-up. But I gotta tell you, I'm frankly amazed at how much of a fuck-up you actually are.
Oh, come on. He did get a guy out of a mental institution without getting caught. Even the Good Burger kids had to go through a chase scene.
Let me tell you something, okay? I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but I don't work like this. And if you want to talk about reputations, and if by some fucking miracle long shot you haven't heard of my reputation, you tell you the fuck I am, Sadie. I am the rule of fucking cool. You want to be a gangster? You want to be a thug? Because I'm the fucking original, straight, first, foremost, pimp, mac, fucking hustler, original gangster's gangster. Bitch! Don't tell me what we're supposed to do.
Well, how about this? You leave him alone or I'll kill you.
Is this the romance part? Are we gonna be rooting for these two? We get several scenes of what I assume is supposed to be character development, but it basically just amounts to them being assholes to each other. If you want to know what these scenes are like, there are parts where Gigli literally reads the label on a Tabasco sauce bottle and talks to himself in the mirror for quite some time. The only really important thing we learn is this.
It means I'm gay. It means I'm a lesbian.
I knew it! That's why you have no chemistry. Holy shit, sheep in the big city. Holy shit, Christopher Walken! Turns out Walken is a cop looking for Brian. He thinks Gigli is the one who has him. I don't know, I'm not even sure Walken knows.
Might you know what it is I'm getting at? No. This federal prosecutor out here, the one with Stockman's testicular matter clutched in his fist. This very federal prosecutor's little brother. But I could be wrong about this because it's almost too stupid for mind to grasp. But I think maybe someone in your professional community might be participating in these shenanigans. Man, you know what I'd love to do? Go down to Marie Callender's. Get me a big bowl. Pie, some ice cream on it. Good.
You know, I'm with the critic on this one. I don't think this was part of the script. I think Christopher Walken just really wanted some pie. But at the very least, we now know Walken is keeping an eye on them and they have to watch their backs for the rest of the movie. Then what the hell was the point of that scene? They head out and get a repeat of the flashlight gag and learn some really disturbing stuff about Brian.
When are we getting to the Baywatch?
What is the Baywatch?
That's where all the beautiful girls are.
You talking about the TV show?
I think you could be friends there. I think that's where the sex is. I think so. I think that's where the sex is.
Well, this character suddenly got a lot more creepy, so we have an incompetent mobster, a bitchy lesbian, and a retarded pervert. I look forward to spending the next hour and a half with these people. They get to a diner where a bunch of punks are playing loud music on their laptop, and unfortunately Spock isn't there to help them. Ricki doesn't want them to make a scene, so she goes up and fucks with them a little bit, in a scene that I bet will have nothing to do with the actual plot.
That was all bullshit, huh?
Yep.
Well, at least they end with this.
Nice computer.
Just fucking broke that bitch. Just fucking snapped it in half. It was great. We get a scene with Gigli's mother that has literally no purpose. In fact, a lot of scenes in this movie have no purpose. In fact, what's the conflict of this movie? The whole federal prosecutor aspect hasn't been mentioned in a while. Most of it has been these three fucking around. So basically, we've just been watching a sitcom. Hell, you could put a laugh track in there and it would actually fit.
I could tell right off the bat, you seem to be of some substance.
Excuse me, miss, where's the men's room?
Oh, right this way, darling. Larry, she's gorgeous. Don't you fuck this one up.
The movie seems more preoccupied with making quotable lines than telling a story.
The penis is like some sort of bizarre sea slug or like a really long toe. Pinnacle of sexual design. One's first impulse is to kiss. What? To kiss the lips. Firm, delicious lips, sweet lips. Surrounding a warm, moist, dizzyingly scented mouth. Because the mouth is the twin sister, the almost exact lookalike of the what? The mouth is the twin sister of the vagina.
God, you are so hot. I want to strip you down butt-ass naked and literally cover every single inch of your body with my tongue.
Eventually, we do get back to the mobster plot as Lewis calls and tells Gigli to cut off Brian's thumb and send it to the prosecutor as a threat. But that is pushed aside as Ricki's girlfriend, who I didn't even know she had, named Robin, shows up and after some arguing, Ricki breaks up with her, which upsets her so much that she promptly slits her wrists.
Hey. Oh no.
Fuck is that?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
So they get her to a hospital, and now I guess there's gonna be some kind of sexual tension between the three, as now Ricki has to make a decision between staying with Robin for her well-being, or going with Gigli, who she will eventually fall in love with. Then what was the point of that scene? You could have easily just cut it out! Well, it turns out the point was to get them to the hospital so Gigli can sneak into the morgue and steal a corpse's thumb to send as a decoy for Brian's. Okay, a few things wrong with this. One, there are probably cameras that caught you. Two, they can run tests to find out that it isn't Brian's thumb. And three, you did not need the girlfriend slitting her wrist to do that. Hell, the scene where he cuts off his thumb is stupid in and of itself. One, he uses a plastic knife to cut through bone, which works. And also, Brian does this.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie. The other brothers can't deny. When the girl's walking with the AB waist and round things in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough, cause you notice that butt was stuffed. Cause I'm long, and I'm strong, and I'm down to get the friction off.
Alright, movie, I know you're 1/3 comedy, but this wouldn't even work in a satire, let alone a romantic comedy. They send the thumb, and on the way back, Gigli tells Ricki that he thinks she's incredibly hot, and then that he likes her. I think you got this backwards, but it seems to work as that night they sleep together. Man, Ben Affleck is really good at turning lesbians straight. Oh, you're gay, are you? Well, I'm Batman.
Let's get it on.
Well, what other reason is there? These two have no chemistry.
Do you think your fingernails need trimming?
What? You don't like my fingernails now?
Who are balanced more toward the masculine of either sex? Check their fingernails this way.
I can't see. I'm farsighted.
You are wrestling with some very strong feminine leanings.
Earlier you said that there are some people who know you well.
I would like to know more about you.
There's really not much to know about me.
We offer an excellent internship program.
Oh, sorry, I don't know how those got in there. And I don't blame the actors for that. The problem is the script. All the interactions between Gigli and Ricki have them being assholes to each other or are complete jokes.
The mouth is the twin sister of the vagina.
God, I want to spend the rest of my life with this girl. These two can't have chemistry if every time they try to connect, it is played for laughs. This is what Ricki says before they have sex.
Where you going?
It's turkey time.
Huh?
Gobble gobble.
That's a thing that happened. Hell, this love story doesn't even work with the rest of the plot. Every time they try to have some kind of moment, all I can think is, don't you guys have other shit to worry about right now? Also, this is one of the unsexiest sex scenes I've ever seen in my life. What up with the fades? No time is passing. You are literally fading in the middle of the same shot. The next morning, Lewis tells them to meet him downtown, but they have to leave Brian.
You know, I got this, fantasy. Going somewhere, you know, like, somewhere really clean.
Guys, there really is no worse time to do this than right now. They go to meet the mob boss Starkman, played by Al Pacino. We get this long monologue that really has nothing to do with anything. Then this happens.
But you know what's the most intimidating quality? Lewis, you want to go to medical school?
Medical school?
Yeah!
Well, that was a bit of an over-exaggeration, but at the very least we now have a conflict. They have to somehow get away from this crazy-ass motherfucker and turn him into the police before he gets... Was there a point? Was there some kind of reason for this movie existing that I missed?
Maybe this is it. I mean, maybe this is the thing. You know, maybe this is like a sign coming from nowhere, from out of the blue, just telling me it's time. It's time to get out.
Was that the point? Was that what the movie was leading to? Gigli teaches Brian how to talk to girls, and all I'm thinking is, a dude just died! This is not what you follow up with. They find an episode of Baywatch filming on the beach and just leave Brian there, telling his brother where to meet him. And seeing as both of them are now wanted by the entire city of Los Angeles, both Gigli and Ricki decide to leave town together. No, but just barely. As a crime movie, it totally fails. The characters are stupid, the plot is something out of a parody, and it doesn't have a conflict. As a romance, it also fails, as every time the two leads try to create chemistry, it is ruined by the movie treating it as a joke. This whole movie is a joke. And that's the thing. As a comedy, it's not bad. It's not great, as a lot of scenes drag on for too long, but it actually does have a lot of funny lines and scenes that make it easier to get through, which is good, as for some reason the movie is 2 hours long. For what it is, I don't think the movie was bad enough for it to have killed Martin Brest's career. He was screwed over, and for what it's worth, the movie looks nice. So yeah, the movie from a structure, character, and story level is pretty awful, but if you want some laughs in a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, it may be worth watching once. Even if you don't find it funny, you can at least be mesmerized by its absolute incompetence. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Which is weird for a movie so infamously bad. But if no one else wants it, what are you doing? Stop it! Fucking cat.